America's modern-day babble. The volume pitched just a bit louder than anywhere else.
I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore!
Do you see yourself as, I mean, even though you're shouting and yelling,
Yeah.
as the voice of reason sometimes?
Yes. Tolerance and respect in the voice of reason.
You're just shouting it.
Yes.
We're wasting our money listening to your nonsense. You were busy when he was running for office saying that he was a Russian spy for us. Get to work. Get to work for this country, Congressman. Why don't you take off your shirt and parade around this room and show everyone how fantastic you are?
Billy Liblick's ridden his lip all the way up to the top of the talk show stratosphere.
Young kid, where's your decency? Where's your morality?
You know the guy who's always in your audience?
Billy Liblick.
Okay, can I tell you what happened? I'm walking down the street a few years ago and I see this guy and I'm like, you're the Jessy Raphael guy. And he was so like above it, he's like, yes I am, no autograph. He was like a big star, you know?
These are your appearances?
Yeah, these are all different shows. Over 300.
gosh.
Over
How many?
300.
It all started when Liblick, a journalist from the Bronx, was given tickets to the Faith Daniels show.
You are sick, pathetic animals.
A stage full of racists brought him to a boil.
White uniform, you are a racist, you are a bigot, you should all be burned so that the society, that people could live in peace and harmony together.
Well, you could just
what the
add that
hell
to
are
the
you
list of
talking
the
about
others
here? The
you all have
Bible?
come up
Don't
with.
disgrace the Bible, and you, the Klansman, the big shot over there.
Can you define the word racist?
You're a pig. You are a pig. You're a pig. You're a pig. And you're a pig. And it's because people like you, our society is the way it is.
Where Morton Downey Jr. went after the good person, I go after the bad guy.
You are happy that someone killed. You're very happy that someone killed. So why don't you go and kill someone and you'll go to prison also,
honey, I'm
and
not
you'll be
afraid.
happy.
Aren't you afraid these people will be waiting for you in the alley?
No, that guy in the street asked me for my autograph and said that I was the only person that ever put him in his place.
People here have to pray for you. Pray.
And now Liblick's hoping his prayers will be answered by Hollywood. He's got himself an agent and is shopping for his own show. He's appeared in a Betty White sitcom.
And now, here he is, Billy Liblick.
And he's pronounced from on high for Ricki Lake.
And welcome, the man with a finger on the pulse of morality in America, Judge Bill Liblick.
Liblick's prime asset? He's no phony.
Real. So I'm real, so I'm going to stay the way I am. Maybe I'll lose some weight. I gained a little.
In New York, there's no surer sign you've arrived than when the Wall Street Journal draws your picture.
Guest is no stranger to this talk show, or any other talk show for that matter. Welcome one of our favorite people, Billy Liblick, to the show. You look so thin.
How are you?
Billy looks so thin. His 15 minutes of fame started over 2 years ago, and it's still going. Billy made a name for himself as a very outspoken talk show guest and audience member. He has since moved on to bigger and better things. How many have you been on in your lifetime?
Well, I'd say over 300.
I think he's got
300
to have
talk
the
shows.
record.
Yeah.
Why talk shows?
Well, you know, it's a strange story, Sally, what had happened, and you look great also.
Thank you.
What happened to me was I was a journalist, I was involved in politics,
Right.
and my mother had passed away. And I was walking down a lobby one day, and I was seeing my attorney. My ex-boss was being indicted. I was the government's witness.
Ooh.
And it was at 30 Rockefeller Center, and I was going to see him, and an NBC page stopped me and asked me if I'd like to see a talk show. And I said, sure. And when I was finished with the attorney, I went to the talk show. It was the Faith Daniels show.
Oh, I remember.
And I sat down. They were starting the show. It was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan and a black family that just had a cross burned. And the Klansman was dressed in this fancy business suit. He was now a Washington lobbyist. And I was listening to the show, and here's a couple, decent, honest people, working people, had a cross burned, and he's defending it, and it's like apple pie he represents. And I raised my hand, as I did many times afterwards, and I called him an animal. I said we should burn people like him. The audience went wild, and they extended the show an additional half hour the next day because it was a half-hour show. And then I said I have some time off from work. I'm not working. I'm burnt out. I just lost my mother. I'd like to see some of the talk shows. And I started going, and I went to Sally, and I went to Donahue,
did
and I went
so much.
to every talk show in New York, and
Well,
then,
wait, I put together clips. I don't have the other kids' shows. I have only our kids' shows. Let's take a look at this. Watch this, Billy.
I heard about scoring at Super Bowl games, but this is ridiculous. All three of you. First of all, you're the hired babysitter. You're not the hired prostitute.
Right.
So you should not be concerned with who she's sleeping with. That's their marriage. It's their marital affairs, and you butt out. It's none of your business. Brenda, he's a kid. He's 17. You're friends with the mother. And realize what you're doing. You're probably in a relationship. You got out of your relationship. You're this lonely woman. You're suddenly this mother figure for him. Wait a few years. He's a young kid. Where's your decency? Where's your morality in that? You're nothing more than white trash. You know, absolutely. You know, hey, these guys must be deaf, dumb, and blind. I'm glad that Rob sees the light now. You're proud that you have 3 babies and you're in your 20s. You're proud that you dumped these guys. You're proud of everything that you do. Look what you look like. Who would even look at you? You're nothing but low-common bimbos. You sit there with your legs crossed. Look at you. Your legs are crossed. Open them up. That's what you usually do to get what you want.
Great moments. Those were such great moments. Now, the next thing that happens is I'm riding on an airplane going somewhere for business, and I see an article in the Wall Street Journal and a front page feature on Billy.
Yes.
Yay, way to go. What happened after that?
Gosh, after the Wall Street Journal article came out, everyone knew me in the street. From being on Sally and being on all the other talk shows.
Isn't that great?
What had happened was Dateline did a segment on me, Inside Edition, Entertainment Tonight. It went on, Snowball New York Magazine. I got an agent, got a manager.
There was a show called Maybe This Time?
Yes, there were these 2 writers, Amy and Wendy Engelberg. They were writing a sitcom, Maybe This Time. Marie Osmond and Betty White were the stars. And they said they're going to write a story about this talk show where Marie Osmond, this goody two-shoes, was duped a boyfriend, dumped him, and take her on a talk show. And they were going to have someone famous playing the host, like a Sally, Jessy Raphael, and an audience member yelling at them. And they were thinking of me as the person. They called me up, asked me for my tape. They got the tape, and the executive producer said, no, we're going to make him have his own show. It's going to be the Billy Liblick Show. So I went out there. Now here, all of a sudden, I'm sitting in an audience, and now I'm at Disney Studio doing the Billy Liblick Show on Maybe This Time with Marie Osmond and Betty White. And I walk in, they gave me a script. I'm not an actor, I've never acted before. And I'm reading the script in a trailer, and these people are coming in. I say, oh, that woman looks like Betty White, and not realizing it's Betty White. And I turn around, there's like 100 executives there from Disney and ABC, and I'm reading the script. And they're laughing hysterical because we're calling her an animal. And then we go into the set and this trailer park for a week. And my first scene is I'm going over to Marie Osmond saying, you used him, you toyed with him, you threw him away. And she looks at me and she goes like this. And I said, Marie, calm down. I'm just reading the script. She says, Billy, I know I'm acting. I forgot that we were doing a sitcom.
Guy who's always in your audience.
Billy Liblick.
Okay, can I tell you what happened?
What
I'm walking down the street a few years ago and I see this guy and I'm like, you're the Sally Jessy Raphael guy. And look, you know him. Roll this clip. We put a little thing together of him on you. She cracks me up, this guy. Roll this.
No, you let me speak. You let me speak. This lonely woman, you're suddenly this mother figure for him. Wait a few years. He's a young kid. Where's your decency? Where's your morality in that? You know what your problem is? You can't face reality. You are happy that someone killed. You're very happy that someone killed. So why don't you go and kill someone and you'll go to prison also and you'll be happy.
He was on every day.
He was.
Was he there every day?
Absolutely. He is an authority in everything.
And he was
knows
so
everything.
opinionated.
He's terribly opinionated. He got his own talk show.
He did?
Yeah.
How'd it go? Was it?
I have no idea. And not only that, but he appeared in the Marie Osmond. She did that show
With Betty White.
Right.
He was in that too?
He was on that too.
See, I also saw him on Ricki Lake as the judge.
Yeah, he's out in
He's on the
Hollywood.
judge on Ricki Lake.
He's a
too.
big deal now.
He's a big star. I saw him in the street. I recognized him. You're the Sally Jessy Raphael guy.
Should I go sit in the audience?
No, it's okay if you stay here.
Wow, so close.
Just like being in the show.
Len,
Billy,
great to see you. This is going to be a wonderful show.
I'd like you to meet Julia. I believe I mentioned her to you before.
Yes, you did. Wonderful to meet you. Please have a donut. They're delicious. Excuse me, please. I have to go start my show.
Okay.
And now it's time again for America's most provocative and unpredictable show, the Billy Liblick Show. And now, here he is, Billy Liblick.
Thank you. Today we've got some real animals. We've got the scum of the earth. But first, I want you to meet these three men. They're successful. They're self-assured. They're everyone's dream. But it wasn't always such a pretty picture, because these men spent countless hours rebuilding their shattered lives because they were recklessly and heartlessly dumped by a woman. Today's topic, you dumped me. Well, look who's making the big dump now. And now, I'd like you to meet Glenn Sturkey, bank president, entrepreneur, big shot. And now meet the cold, cruel, calculating shrew who destroyed and crushed his vulnerable teenage heart, Julia Wallace.
Liblick Show! Now!
You accepted his invitation to the spring dance and you stood him up, didn't you?
But I...
There are no but I's here. There's only truth, justice, and...
You're an animal!
Tell me when I can look.
I told you this guy was bad news.
I thought Julia can't be doing this to me, but she did. She did.
You knew you would harm this sweet man, but yet you used him, you toyed with him, and you threw him away. What do you say about that, Julia?
Well,
Oh no, I'm doing the same thing to poor sweet Felice. This could happen to me. I gotta make this right. Oh, what a tangled web I've woved.
Oh, look at you in your pretty clothes. You should be wearing a witch's outfit. Because of you, he never had any love in his life. Am I right? Am I right?
I'm sorry.
I had to bury myself in my work, Julia.
He spent the rest of his life proving that he would be worth something. What do you say now, Julia?
Okay, I was wrong.
Quit yelling.
But I've always regretted it. And look at him. He's successful. He's made something of himself. I mean, even if it only was to get back at me, I mean, he still did it. If I hadn't have stood you up, you'd still be secretary treasurer of the Latin Club. You'd be nothing.
Yeah!
Oh, my God. Julia, you're right. You made me who I am. I was headed for a nothing life, but I managed to turn it around. I owe everything to you. Julia, will you marry me?
You're insane. You humiliate me in front of 1 million people?
4 million.
And now you want me to marry you?
What do you say, Julia?
You are deranged, and you are deranged too.
Yeah!
You're all deranged. Stop that!
Where are you going?
I'm leaving.
But we're supposed to have dinner. You're standing me up again?
Listen, mister. You can go straight to HE double hockey sticks.
All right, Julia. For goodness sake, don't you ever read?
Welcome back to Talk Soup. I'm John Anson. We got one last highlight for you, and then I'm out of here, folks. This clip comes from the Billy Liblick Show. Now, I want to warn you, there's some language here you don't hear every day. So if you've got little ones, bring them on in the room, won't you? Could it be anything else but our Talk Soup clip of the week? Where are you going?
I'm leaving.
But we're supposed to have dinner. You're standing me up again?
Listen, mister. You can go straight to HE double hockey sticks.
Wow, that is some salty language. God, I wonder what her mother would say.
Well, it's a start.
NBC tonight.
You're all going to damn hell.
He's proud.
No, wait a second.
He's all talk all the time.
How many talk shows have you been to?
Oh, by now, I'd say over 300.
Meet the talk show guest who just won't shut up.
If you watch a lot of talk shows, you know that sometimes all it takes is a spark to get the host, the guests, and the audience all fired up. Well, you're about to meet a man who's made setting that spark his life's goal. And tonight, Faith Daniels has the story of the talk show mouth that roars.
pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheep, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more, pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheep, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more, pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheep, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more, pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheep, cheep, cheep.
Please, the point is...
He's here.
Sally, the horns are coming right up.
He's there.
And you should treat them like ladies.
He's everywhere.
Listen to me, little child, and you'll learn something.
His voice slicing the airwaves.
When you die, I'm gonna go to the same place you're gonna go.
It's a distinctive nasality that's a mix of Richard Simmons, a splash of Joan Rivers, and a heavy dose of pure Bronx.
You're nothing but a damn freeloader, and you should get the hell out of the house there.
Meet Bill Liblick, perpetual talk show guest.
How many talk shows have you been to?
Oh, by now, I'd say over 300.
300?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why so many?
When you look at what I've done, I'm the first person that ever went to talk show school.
Let's ask Bill, who's been here before. What do you do first if you have a question or comment?
Raise your hand.
Then you.
Stand up.
And then you.
Ask you a comment, question, a statement,
And then you.
sit down.
Very nice. Very good.
The education of 36-year-old Bill Liblick, serial talk show guest, began by happenstance in 1992. After the death of his mother, he lost his longtime job on a Bronx newspaper. He was on his way to see a lawyer in Rockefeller Center about unemployment benefits.
And an NBC page stopped me and asked me if I would like to see a talk show. And they handed me a ticket. It was the Faith Daniels show.
So he arrived at Studio 8H, which was then home to my show.
I remember it very well. I walked into the studio. The audience was filled, ready to start the show. There was one seat right over there.
That day, we were talking to a family who had a cross burned on their front lawn, and an official of the Ku Klux Klan, when Bill Liblick decided to stand up and be counted.
We have another question here.
It's not even a question. I can't believe I'm standing here in 1992 with this animal here in the fancy business suit saying to what he's saying. People raising their hand. I raised my hand, stood up, said exactly what I felt. These people could live next to me any day. Any day. I wouldn't live next to an animal like you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
No, thank you for not living next to me.
After you got done yelling and giving your opinion and you sat back down in your chair, what happened to you? Did you surprise yourself?
I felt myself being me again. I felt my life perhaps going in a new direction again.
A new direction that's taken him to up to 5 talk shows a day, financed by a healthy savings account.
As a mother, she has to have a little...
Have you ever been a woman or a mother?
What are you answering? Why doesn't the mother answer? Why doesn't she talk about her respect for her child? Why doesn't she talk about how she feels about her child? You know her child? Would you like if your daughter was 12 years old? Hold!
Any issues that deal with kids or issues that deal with hate, Bill is really outspoken, and he will stand up and tell you how he feels, and sometimes I'll just give him the microphone and walk away.
When I notice that he's in the audience, I always know to go to him at a time maybe when the show needs a little bit more energy, and he's great for that.
Will everyone in the audience please rise and welcome the man with a finger on the pulse of morality in America, Judge Bill Liblick.
Bill has even moved to center stage, like this guest shot on Ricki Lake's relationship court.
There's a song out there called Friendship. And I sentence you to learn those words, friendship, and to come back before your friend and to say them to her.
This episode produced Ricki Lake's highest ratings last season.
Please welcome Bill Liblick.
The irony in Bill's mania is that his hobby is transforming him from an unknown fan into something of a celebrity.
Do you think there are too many talk shows?
Some of the hosts I think are ridiculous. I think people stop me wherever I go. They think I have a talk show.
It used to be that people said that everybody got 15 minutes of fame. Now it seems to be that everybody gets their own talk show. Do you think you'll get your own talk show?
I want my shot at my own talk show. I would love it to be the mixture of Faith Daniels, the journalistic skills, the sympathy and compassion of a Jessy Raphael, and the outrageousness of a Joan Rivers.
No, you've got a big mouth. You know.
I have a very big mouth.
And that's why I think that we should give Bill Liblick a shot at his own talk show.
Bill Liblick has been signed by an agent, and as they say in Hollywood, he's currently weighing several offers. In the meantime, he's keeping his tongue sharp with his own local radio show here in New York.
Paddler. He sits in the audience, but he's really the star of the show.
Every time I would raise my hand, something would happen. The audience would go wild.
Yeah.
Bring it on, Springer.
The hopelessly addicted are encouraged to be enthusiastic, loud, and opinionated. And this man is their king. Their very outspoken king.
You're nothing but a damn freeloader, and you should get the hell out of the house there.
Bill Liblick has been on Montel.
Listen to me, little child, and you'll learn something.
Ricki.
And you should treat them like ladies.
And Sally Jessy. Liblick has probably been on more talk shows than you've ever watched. How many? Try 300.
And every time I would raise my hand, something would happen. The audience would go wild.
Liblick's walk into talk show history started when he was out of work and had nothing better to do. Now show producers actually ask him to come on down, and in the case of Ricki Lake, to join in.
Judge Bill Liblick.
Now this hobby might be turning into a profession for Liblick, who says he's getting offers for his own talk show.
I now have a manager, an agent, and a lot of publicity, and people know me all over the country.
My guests today say they know their mate is cheating because they have the proof. To help us sort out the evidence today is our very own judge, the Honorable Bill Liblick. Bill, come on out here. Hi, Bill. It is great to see you. You got a nice new haircut. You look terrific.
So do you, Ricki.
Nice. Her apartment. I allowed her to move in with me because the apartment that she lived in had been trashed. So while I would be at school and everything, one day I came in and I noticed a pair of red underwear under my bed, you know? And the underwear...
Is that the evidence?
Yes, that is the evidence.
Let's check out the red underwear. Yes, Judge.
I must say, Ricki, I've heard of planting gloves before, but I've never heard of planting underwear. Never, ever. Never. And 2 pairs yet. Order, please. Respect for Miss Lake.
And respect for Judge Liblick.
Thank you. Baby, is it?
Mine.
Are you certain of that?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because I was not cheating about 4 months ago.
We were out of state.
Travis.
We just moved back to Iowa.
So no condoms were disappearing here, like...
No.
Travis?
To be a mother?
No.
You're not... Wait. You feel that you're not fit to be a mother, so what's going to happen when you give birth? Who's going to take care of the baby?
I will.
Oh, so now you're arguing.
I will take care of the kid.
Now, did you want to become pregnant? Because
Yes,
you
I
said
did.
that you used condoms.
Yes, I did.
You wanted to be, and then you cheated on him also.
Yes.
We're straight on that. Yes, Judge.
Can we please have a sidebar for a second?
A sidebar?
Yes,
Yeah,
please,
wait.
Please.
Yes.
She has a problem.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to call for it?
Well, I understand there's evidence here from what, and I think it's important that you show if there's evidence to bring into the courtroom.
Let's see the evidence.
No, it was a bra like this.
Oh, like that?
Like that.
Like this one.
That was good enough.
Now, we're talking to couples who say their mate has cheated and they have the proof. Now it is our judge's turn to have his say. Yes. We're going to bring them out individually, and you're going to give a verdict of some kind?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Michelle and Patrick, remember them? Come on back out here.
Oh, God.
You know something? There's a woman out there, Patrick, who's even more holy and mightier than Mother Teresa. And I honestly believe, as a sentence, for the next month, before you go to sleep, I think that you have to write, because you must follow in her footsteps, because I think you're just as pure as she tends to be. So every night before you go to bed, write 100 times, I want to be like Kathy Lee. I want to be like Kathy Lee.
That's your sentence. So do you find him guilty?
Yes, absolutely, they're guilty. I mean,
It's an absolute joke that these two people came here and acted so innocent. Obviously, they're guilty, and the proof was in the panties. That's right.
Thank you, guys. Up next, we have Tiffany and Travis. Tiffany and Travis, come on back out here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, you know something? You're yawning. You just proposed marriage, and before the two of you get into the situation of marriage and bring a baby to this world, you must talk to someone. It's very important. But what I think the two of you should do is go on a vacation. Go to Washington, D.C., and spend a week watching the House of Representatives, because they're the only group that knows how to screw things up more than the two of you.
Thank you, guys. Up next, we have Jill and Tim. Jill. Come on, Jill. Look at you. Look at you. You're very, very attractive. You seem very intelligent. Don't hit on Jill.
And, well, no, I honestly believe that there was a song out there a few years ago by Gloria Gaynor. And you must learn these words. It's called I Will Survive. Now go. Walk out the door. And don't turn around now anymore.
For our amazing judge, Bill Liblick. Great job. Thank you.
He's the wildest, most outrageous person on television, but he doesn't have his own show. He's a guest.
Go like 3, 4 in a day. I mean, go to 2 Sallys, you can go to Ricki, 2 Rickis, you can go to a Montel.
Today, trying to get a word in edgewise with the terror of the talk show circuit.
Bill.
Chat shows, they are everywhere, all over the place. We can't escape them. And we know a guy who is the king of the talk shows, a guy who has been on more than 300 of them. Cindy Hom reports on something that could only happen in America.
And you, St. Daniel's is too good to shake your hand. You're dirt. Well, sometimes people may not be as smart and sophisticated as you think you are, because obviously you're the dope.
But what do you really think, sir?
If you watch the daytime talk shows, this guy may look familiar. Is he a murderer?
Jennifer, are you for real?
Is he a con artist?
No one here today spoke about that one word, love.
Maybe a bigamist.
Apparently, from what you're saying, something that would be perfectly okay.
No, he's Bill Liblick from the Bronx, and he's a professional talk show groupie.
Well, there's times I'd go like 3, 4 in a day. I mean, go to 2 Sallys, you can go to Ricki, 2 Rickis, you can go to a Montel, you can go to a Donahue.
You're the one that's still fooling around with him. These women saw the light.
This former journalist is the most outrageous thing to happen to daytime TV in a very long time. And for the past 2 years, with over 300 tapings to his credit, Bill has been doing what he does best.
Thank God the people in this audience know what kind of animal you are.
I think there needs to be a voice out there for someone who speaks from the heart, that's not planned, not staged, that doesn't go the conventional way. I think Bill Liblick is a producer's dream.
Stuart Krasnow is the supervising producer of the Ricki Lake Show, and he has seen and heard it all.
About a week and a half later, Bill showed up in the audience again, and the director and the people on the front deck turned back to me and panicked and said, "There's that guy again. He made such a show of himself. You want me to shoot around him?" And I said, "No way. I want to see what he's going to do this time."
When he's not stirring the pot on one of the shows, Bill is just a regular guy who likes to work out, do volunteer work, and if you're wondering why this guy has so much free time, yes, he's looking for a job in journalism or politics. But how did Bill become the darling of the talk shows? According to him, it was all a happy accident. While walking along a Manhattan street one day, he was offered a free ticket to sit in the audience and watch a taping of a talk show.
These two people understand life. They understand love. They understand respect. What the hell do you understand?
I'm not acting. I'm not an actor.
Bill has become so well known that he was even written up in the prestigious Wall Street Journal. And he's become so popular with producers that he's moved from audience member to guest. When we caught up with Bill, he was heading for an appearance on the Rolanda Show.
Well, today we're off to Rolanda.
today's topic, people who appear on talk shows, and guess who has very strong opinions on the subject.
It's people like you that can talk shows that damn
Bill. He's got guts. He's got chutzpah, as you might say. Bill, you can come back to this show anytime you want.
Thank you. Well, that was the Rolanda show, and remember, silence is not golden, because talk is.
We have to find the guy a job, and we might have. Liblick is currently fronting his own radio show, all talk, of course.
What would you do if you thought your best friend was sleeping with your longtime boyfriend, but you weren't actually sure? Well, my first guest and her best friend have decided to take their dispute and figure it out right here on our makeshift courtroom. Now, before we begin the trial, I'd like to introduce our esteemed, distinguished, and very honorable judge for today's proceedings. You might have seen him before as a very outspoken member of our studio audience and other talk shows as well. He is also a frequent face on Talk Soup. Before we bring him out, why don't we take a look at this clip?
You know, why don't you sit in a little room and lick the wall, because that's what you're good for, with a little damn dunce cap. Because you are a little child. What? How much education? What's your body like? You have a great body? Why don't you take off your shirt and parade around this room and show everyone how fantastic you are? You are a little child. You have no respect for yourself. You have no dignity.
All right. Will everyone in the audience please rise and welcome the man with a finger on the pulse of morality in America, Judge Bill Liblick.
Thank you. Be seated, please.
Relationship disputes right here in our own makeshift courtroom. Now the time has come for our judge to hand down his verdict for each of our cases. Okay, the first case, the case of the stolen boyfriend. Cherie, Waylon, and Cindy, come on out. Okay, Judge.
You know, we had a lot of fun here today, but these are very serious subjects, and these are real issues. And I think it's time that we get serious. And Ricki, I thank you for giving us the opportunity, the people out there, to get in these people's face.
My pleasure.
Yes.
My pleasure.
And now it's time. Cindy, I really find you the one who's guilty. I hate to say it, but Waylon at least was honest. And he said he had the affair and what he did. But Cindy, there's a word when you go out with friends. A friend is something that stays with you your entire life. If you have 5 friends you could count on your finger, that's what you should be concerned about. There's a song out there called Friendship. And I sentence you to learn those words, friendship, and to come back before your friend and to say them to her.
All right.
Please
the judge has spoken. Thank you, lady. Thank you, Cindy. Thanks, Cherie. Thanks, Waylon. Next group, the case of the quarreling couple, Amy and Jeff. Come on out.
You know something? I listened to the two of you, and you know, in a way, you're both made for one another. You know who's guilty in this relationship? Amy, you're guilty. Jeff, you're guilty. And you know what I sentence you to? Both of you. There's a TV show out there. Some may think it's cruel to watch it, but you must watch this. There's a show called Barney. 2 months of learning Barney, and learn that song on Barney, and maybe then you'll understand about people and respect for one another.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Amy and Jeff. Now it's the case of the husband stealing sister, Tammy, Terry, and Douglas. Come on out.
Your case is the saddest of all the cases. You know why? You know why? Because there has to be some resolution here. It's fun and it's funny, but you're 2 sisters. And 2 sisters, I think blood is more important than anything. And we could joke about any sentence, and we could joke about what happened here. I think it's disgusting. I think you should be ashamed of yourself for doing what you were doing. I think you both should be ashamed. But, You have to get on with your lives and your sisters, and this is the situation right now. You know something, when you were children go to amusement parks. Why don't you both, for 1 month, every Sunday and Saturday, go to different amusement parks and watch the children who are brothers and sisters together and learn the meaning about love to one another.
Thank you, Dutch. Thank you, ladies. Next up, the case of the overprotective boyfriend. Trisha, Aubin, Stacy, and Natasha. Get on out here.
Quite frankly, I don't even want to waste my time right now with two liars. First of all, you give back the gift that she gave you. Please, this is the sentence. You are both guilty, and I would like you both, it's springtime, plant cherry trees like George Washington did, and find out about honesty and truth and justice the American way.
Okay, quickly, the case of the neglected wife, Tanya and Randall.
You know, Randall, you have a lot to learn, and you have a lot to learn about your wife and love. And you know what? You like playing those games? For 2 months, instead of playing those games, you go into the bedroom with your wife and learn how to play with her. There's nothing else to discuss.
I got 3 kids while playing the game.
No, that's fine. Then you go somewhere else with your wife and learn how to love her again and learn how to court her again, and you play with your wife and learn some new tricks and new games.
Thank you, Judge. Couples resolve their romantic differences. I'd like to personally thank the Honorable Judge Bill Liblick.
Thank you.
And also, have a major dispute in your relationship and you can't figure it out, talk to each other and try to work things out. But if that doesn't work, you can always take them to Ricki's Relationship Court. See you next time, everyone.
Come and go with the ratings, and hundreds of different guests appear, generally picked for their spectacular idiosyncrasies. But one face remains constant, Bill Liblick. Entertainment Tonight hit the talk show circuit at full speed with Bill, a very tough man to keep up with or talk back to.
As a mother, she has to have a little
Have you
respect.
ever been a woman or
talking to
a
her, so
mother?
what are
I'm
you
talking to
answering?
you.
They're friends of yours, right? You charge all your friends when you take them in your car?
Yeah, of course.
Then you're nothing but a damn freeloader, and you should get the hell out of the house there. I mean, come on.
Bill Liblick is a former journalist who dreams of having his own talk show, and he's getting plenty of practice. He's been an audience member on more than 200 talk shows, including Ricki Lake and Jessy Raphael.
When Billy gets up and says something, he says it with tremendous force and conviction.
No, you let me speak. Sometimes I steal the spotlight from the people on the panel and sometimes from some of the hosts.
Every week, this native New Yorker attends up to 6 talk show tapings, and he took E.T. along to chat it up with him. First stop, the Montel Williams show, where a producer recognizes Bill and has him demonstrate proper question techniques.
What are you going to do first if you have a question?
Raise your hand.
Then you're going to.
Stand up.
Then you're going to.
Ask your question, comment, or statement.
Then you're going to.
Sit down.
Very nice. Here he is, Montel Williams.
Then it's showtime, and today's episode is about a teen who has slept with close to 70 women. It doesn't take Bill long to get in on the action.
Mike, you sit there with that smirk on your face. When the hell are you going to grow up?
I
mean, no, you're not grown up.
He's appeared on the show several times, but it's never a planned thing.
Bill likes to come, and I'm not going to tell a guy that likes to be here that you can't be here. But what I do is every now and then I say, Bill, you know, you've been here for 4 shows. You got to, like, space it out a little bit.
Bill didn't get everything off his chest, so it was on to Jessy Raphael.
Stand by to zoom in to Billy on camera 1.
You're very happy that someone killed. No. So why don't you go and kill someone and you'll go to prison
Because,
also,
honey, I'm
and
not
you'll be happy. I don't understand what the hell you...
Whenever he stands up to say anything, he adds a lot. He is probably the single best audience person.
Bill thinks he has what it takes to make the move from being in the talk show audience to being the host.
I enjoy vocal stimulation between people and their point of view and dealing with issues in everyday life. And that's what TV talk shows offer. And if someone doesn't like it, they have a right not to like it. They can watch Beavis and Butthead.
Well, Bill isn't paid for his talk show performances. He says he's living on savings. Must be nice.
None. As a matter of fact, his mugshot has him with a grin on his face.
as if to say, ha ha. And that's what makes me so angry.
Now, you haven't, the woman is back in her home. You're afraid she won't testify, but you haven't been to see her because of the guilt, right?
The guilt, and I'm ashamed.
That's what I meant.
Deborah, I'm sitting here. How could you sleep with a man? On the phone you meet him, knowing that he violated 9 women. I mean, you could go through all the therapy in the world. Look what he did to other human beings. I mean, it's a disgrace. I mean, just sit here and listen to these 2 women. You meet someone in jail on a phone, and he's a compassionate human being. I mean, you know what should happen when someone rapes someone? You cut the thing off, and that's the solution. And that's the best therapy. I don't feel sorry for you. You came from a bad home.
Wait a minute. Yes.
Let me ask you something. You're entitled to your opinion, and that's wonderful. You know, you can be angry, and that's wonderful. You have a right to be angry. But if it was a member of your family who committed some of these crimes, would you disown them? Would you cast them?
I'm talking about disowning you. I am talking about you. I am talking, she's having sexual intercourse with you. I am talking about a woman, how she could look at you knowing that you did something so devastating, not to 1 woman, not to 2 women, not to 3 women, 9 women. You went to jail, you committed a crime. I don't believe this therapy. That's the answer. They should cut it off. You know, it sounds funny, but that's what they should do.
No, it's not funny, no.
That is exactly the best therapy. You know, I do not feel sorry for you.
Let me ask you something.
Forget about the victims.
Let me ask you something. You pay taxes. We taxpayers put people in prison. We're paying for them. We paid for the program that he went through for 3 years. Why, if everyone feels that there's no salvation and that a person can't make a mistake and get better, why do we have these programs that we're paying for?
But Sally, you know, there's a big problem with our judicial system. Our prisons...
You think we shouldn't have
those? No, I think there should be. But our prisons are not reforming, and that's a big problem. But you're talking about 9 times a man raped someone. And I cannot... I don't think he's rehabilitated. I think you're dealing with something that's very psychological. And something where he's in danger.
And if he can't be rehabilitated, yeah.
Would you be afraid to be in a room with this man?
Yes.
Why would you be afraid? And he was rehabilitated. Our judicial system went through the entire procedure. Would you be afraid to be with this man?
Yes.
Why?
Because I would be terrified.
That's the answer. That's why I'm saying this man. I cannot understand how this man, how this woman can have sexual relations.
Let her talk. All right.
Okay, understand, you know, I went into a lot of background on the sex offender. You know, this is something that if I even contemplated having a relationship, I needed to know more about it. And understand there is a difference between sex and the sex offender. I mean, what they do is acting out in a violent manner. And it's a power thing, and that is totally different
She's saying
than
rape
making
is about
love.
violence. Rape isn't about sex.
I understand that, but I am concerned about the victims. I am concerned about their life.
Okay, let's ask him what happened to them as soon as we return. We'll ask. And people are saying very strong things to you. Are you angry now?
To some point, yes. I'm angry at, and because people seem to have blinders on here. They're not looking at out here.
Who are you angry at? Are you angry at that gentleman who was talking to you?
Actually, he hurt my feelings. Actually, I mean, he is entitled to his opinion, okay? And that's fine. Everyone in this room is, as my opinion counts as a human being too. It's okay for me to say that man hurt my feelings. It's okay for me to say I didn't like what you said. It made me angry, okay? But I'm not going to go out and rape somebody this afternoon because you made me angry.
Behind the cameras, off camera, what are you looking for right now?
Passionate guests, a point of view.
You know what should happen when someone rapes someone?
For the guests to really be comfortable enough to say what they said they wanted to say.
You cut the thing off, and that's the solution.
Yeah.
What's good to Bert usually translates into good ratings for The Sally Show.
It's okay for me to say, I didn't like what you said. It made me angry, okay? But I'm not going to go out and rape somebody this afternoon because you made me angry.
Good. Take a break.
And good ratings? Well, you got the picture.
For the breakup of their marriage?
None at all.
Norman, no? Mark's partner.
She's all to blame. To be perfectly honest with you,
What?
Ladon, he bought you everything. Honey,
is nothing.
Honey,
If you
he's
can't
still
give
paying.
inside,
He's still
the
paying
buying
for
is
your
nothing.
marriage. Thank you very much.
This is ridiculous. I'm sitting here listening this. You lied to her. That's the bottom line of that.
They threw us into an alligator pit, basically.
Into a marriage. Don't say no. She's all mixed up, and you're both sitting there defending and saying she's wrong. Don't look at these two jerks. You go on with your life. Not everyone lies.
What's really upset me through the whole 4 years has been that I'm the bad guy. Well, I now know I'm the good guy because the audience proved that.
Don Watson, back home in Las Cruces, New Mexico,
Incredible.
probably doesn't get much better than this.
Television has changed my life.
You lied to her. That's the bottom line of that.
His own talk show for crying out loud. His own talk show for crying out loud. His own talk show for crying out loud. His own talk show.